Hi, I'm Jeremy Vendetti. So we're here at Hope, British Columbia today, looking at the Fraser River. And so at Hope, British Columbia is approximately where we get the transition from a bedrock river to an alluvial river. So a bedrock river is one that is flowing over an actively incising bedrock. An alluvial river is a river in which the river is flowing through its own deposits. So the bedrock canyons end up around Yale, British Columbia at Lady Franklin Rock. Between Lady Franklin Rock in Yale and Hope, British Columbia, the river is confined by bedrock on one side or the other in many places, and there's a lot of lateral inputs coming from hill slopes. But at Hope here, the valley really starts to open up. The gradient of the river goes down, and the river begins to deposit its gravel. And you can see there's some really big gravel deposits here that start at Hope, and they persist as we go downstream. So it's really common for big mountain rivers like this to deposit their gravel load within a couple of 100 kilometers of the mountain front. And at Hope, British Columbia right here, we are right near the mountain front. In fact, we're right at the exit of the mountain front. There are some mountains to either side of the channel as we go downstream here, but we are on our way to exiting that mountain front. And so, like I said, upstream of here, hill slopes are very tightly connected with the river channel. They are providing the sediment supply to the river channel, and as I mentioned at some other sites, we have those quaternary fluvial and glacial fills in the valleys that are being reworked and eroded that are providing the sediment supply to the river. As we go down river from here, the hill slopes become increasingly disconnected from the river system. And really only very big landslides and debris flows will be able to come down and reach the river. Those kinds of large mass movements tend to come down and then sit on the floodplain and maybe eventually get reworked in different places. So that's a big difference between the bedrock river that we looked at up in the Fraser Canyon and the alluvial river we're looking at downstream, because downstream we have a floodplain that begins to form where the river shifts back and forth across its floodplain, reworking sediments that it has deposited. Upstream of here, we're dealing with a river that is essentially dumping material in from the hill slopes, and the river's carrying that material until we get down to about this location in the Fraser River system. One last thing I wanted to comment on in this site is we have a pretty big change in the river morphology. Upstream of here, we have this whole system of canyons, these very deep, very narrow canyons. When we get down to Hope, the river opens up and gets a lot wider. So the river becomes several kilometers wide, and the mean depth up in this part of the river is about 5 meters at high flow. So not very deep, but very, very wide. And so that's our transition from bedrock river to alluvial river.